Hi guys, welcome to the Anything Everything podcast.
I'm so excited about today's topic. I think it's something we've been wanting to cover, and it just suddenly came to me, something back to our roots, something grounded in like English literature. And
Yes.
I was thinking for a long time about what I want this episode to be like. And the first thing we want to cover is classics. So today's topic that we are going to be discussing is classics and classical literature. I want this to be like a series that we do, different
She's so
genres.
excited for this
Yeah,
one.
different genres we kind of explore in different episodes, but the first thing we cover, the frontier of where all English literature was born from.
Just classics.
Just classics.
Just plain good old classics.
Yeah, so we did a lot of research and we
Yes.
went into like just approaching it as a story, that why are the classics the way they are,
Mhm.
and why should we read them, because there is a lot of fear and nervousness when it comes to classics. So if we break down what classics mean, it comes from this Latin word called classicus, and it basically showed people of high class who like read certain books and they were exposed to certain types of literature that the other public was just not exposed to.
Mhm.
So that's where the word comes from. So the word, essentially a classical book, is something that transcends apparently what the normal public should not have read, something otherworldly, something quite unique, something that nobody had ever created. That's where the meaning of the word classics came
Comes
from.
from, yes. I feel like I read this also somewhere, like a classic is not something that you've read for the first time, but whenever you ask someone, they're already like rereading the
Yeah,
book.
it's always
Like
I'm rereading
I'm
Anne Karenina.
rereading the classic because I mean there's something so special and still so like unique about these classics. Like if you read like Frankenstein all over again,
Wow.
if you read like Emma or like Pride and Prejudice, I mean the movies are great, but coming back to the classic book of Jane Austen's novels, they are so good and so iconic.
Yeah, and it really is something when people say classics, it's something I want to read, but they never go around to reading it.
Oh
There is
yeah.
this mystery and almost fear when you approach a classic. When you say the word Crime and Punishment, the room will just
Oh my
become
god.
silent
I just
and
love that
everyone
book.
will get nervous because just of the sheer volume of that book, and also the fear that the language is complicated
Yes,
and I
yes.
would not understand it.
Yes.
So that creates this whole air of
I think
mystery
something
around it.
about Crime and Punishment is just no matter. I think I've read that book like twice, thrice over the
It's
course of
brilliant.
like I read it like a couple of years back. It still amazes me to this point.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of classical literature. You keep rereading it and you will come across something new that
There's
you
so
did
much
not discover.
depth even to every chapter of every classic book that we have ever
Yeah,
read.
and that's why when you reread it, oh, I did not understand it when I read it the first time.
Yes.
Like I remember the first Crime and Punishment I read was abridged.
Uh-huh.
Like it was not the full book. I was probably 13. I was like, I'm going to read Crime and Punishment, but it is
It's
extremely
tough.
difficult to
Mhm.
read.
It
So
is
I
very
read the
tough, yeah.
abridged book the first time, and after like 3 years, I read the full, the huge volume and like that one part, and it is an experience.
I know. It took me also like a good amount of time to
It took me
finish
6 months
that
to
book.
go through that
6
book.
months?
When I'm just sitting and just like reading it properly.
But it was so good.
It was
very good.
insane. And that's one, factor about classics. I think the fact that they speak to mortality, they
Mhm.
speak to experiences that every human goes through in such a all encompassing way,
Mhm.
that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, no matter what your race is, no matter what your skin color is, no matter in what economic demographic you fit, a classic brings people together because the themes are so simple.
And
They
it's so
speak to
like
all of them.
more than simple. I think it drives so much empathy within even a person when you like even read a classic, because like a classic is not just about one, like it's not just about one culture. There's so much cultural diversity when you read so many classics. There are the Greek classic books, and then there is
Roman, then
Roman.
the ages, like the golden ages, 90s.
Anata's a huge fan of classic books.
Yeah.
She has an amazing recommendation list as well, and that's
Which we
why
will
we
share
have
with
like
you.
everything like written down.
Yes. Okay, now if we come to how it all started,
Uh-huh.
we will go to the time of the beginning, the emergence.
Yes.
And the emergence was not of novels, right? Humans were capable of sharing stories, communicating with each other, creating and imagining way before they started writing things down. We had people communicating through pictures. We had people, telling each other stories. And then slowly and steadily, we started seeing inventions, like the clay tablets. We started seeing people create the alphabet.
Hmm.
That was the emergence of creating some sort of language that
Mhm.
helped us pen things down. And that's just so cool to me. Like, people found a way to
To just
communicate with
communicate,
each
yeah.
other. They created something, and it just speaks to human existence and our own truth. Like, imagine the language we are speaking right now. Someone years ago, people just like us, created something. An interesting fact that I came across when I was researching it is who published the first book, or who became the first author. That was my question.
Mhm.
And I came across this Mesopotamian priestess. Her name, I'm so sorry if I'm butchering it, it was Enheduanna.
Mhm.
And she was a priestess, and she started writing hymns and poems to a goddess,
Wow.
Inanna. And she signed her name and she sealed it, and she became the first author that we've ever known in history.
That's outstanding.
Like, how cool is that? The first author was a woman. I mean, obviously, I completely get it. And just the fact that we can look back and realize someone did this years and years ago, centuries ago,
It's actually outstanding.
it's insane to me. And now, when we come to discussing, the proper classics,
Mhm.
the first classic that ever originated and emerged was the Epic of Gilgamesh. It is considered to be the oldest classic to have ever existed. It has, inspired the Bible. That's crazy. It has inspired the Iliad and the Odyssey. It inspired people in Greece and Rome to even think about
Writing a
doing
book like
something
that,
like
yeah.
this. And the fact that, the Epic of Gilgamesh, it was on clay tablets. It was written on clay tablets in cuneiform script. So it was not even like we could understand it.
Mhm.
It was translated in, I think, 1870
Mhm.
by a Londoner called George Smith.
Mhm.
The book was written probably like 54 years ago. 5400 years ago, I'm so sorry.
5400 years.
5400 years ago. And imagine a book that old translated recently, like in 1870s. I know it's still quite a bit of time, but the time that
5400 in
passed,
1870
yeah,
is like,
it is
yeah.
absolutely insane. And the story is very simple. It starts with this, like, man. His name is Gilgamesh, and he was born of a goddess. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And the people he was the king of Uruk. Like, it was a region, right? And the people were scared of him, so they prayed to the gods, and the gods created a companion for him.
Mhm.
And it was the companion's name was Enkidu. They were friends. They were, very good companions. Some people say they were in love. It was all working out well. They killed a monster. A lot of things were happening over there. But then one goddess, she proposed marriage to Gilgamesh. She asked him if he would marry her. He said no. The gods lost their temper. They killed Enkidu. They sentenced him to death. Now Gilgamesh was mourning. He was obviously mourning a loss of a friendship. He was mourning companionship. The person who had always been there for him suddenly gone. He was all and totally lonely, because when you're that high and mighty, you don't really consider human beings to be friends, right? So then he went on like this journey to find eternal life, and he found a plant which would make you young forever, because he did not want to die. He was questioning his mortality in that way. But then,
Immortality is kind
anticlimactically,
of
a snake stole the plant,
okay.
and then the plant was gone forever.
My God.
And he was just left questioning what that meant for him, and the fact that he had to grapple with the emotions that him, who was born of a goddess, who was half god, was going to die like all the mortals.
Immortality is a curse.
Yeah.
Either which way.
And this is such a simple story, but it brought about so many themes of love, of friendship, of loneliness,
Mhm.
of, thinking you are greater and bigger than everybody
But
else.
you're just human.
Yes, and of living with the fact that you are going to die one day.
Mhm.
And this was written so many years ago, but these are the same stories people write about today. Like, the essence of what makes us human has not changed.
Right.
I think it's very important to consider this, because when we think of classics, like our generation, when we think of classics, we think of Pride and Prejudice, we
Mhm.
think of
Emma.
East of Eden, we
Yeah.
think of Emma, we think of, those books, the golden ages. But the fact that someone wrote this years ago
Origins matter.
on a clay tablet,
Somewhere it would have started and it turned out to be so
It is an
Mind-blowing.
epic, especially a Babylonian epic. Like, these are civilizations we studied in history, but we never studied this when we read our history textbooks. We never came across something this epic.
Yes.
So yeah, I think that was very interesting just to read about. So if you guys want to check out the Epic of Gilgamesh, even reading like the abridged version or just reading the history of it, I think that would be very cool, because you could say that I read the first classic of the world.
Genuinely, guys, like you can see the amount of research she has done because
Yeah,
she actually enjoys reading classic literature and its history, which
because
actually
it is
amazes me.
important.
It is very important and it's so interesting at the same time because
Yeah.
somewhere or the other you need to know where the origins also came from.
Yeah, and so this history that we studied, I think it's very important, and it just tells us a story of how we evolved and where we have reached. So there was something called as the Gutenberg revolution, and this revolution is important because this was the printing press. The printing press came alive. Before that, the books were only available to the rich because they were expensive. They were handwritten, right? That was the whole experience that they were selling.
Now
But
it's
when we got the
the
printing press,
printing press.
it
Yeah.
democratized reading. The fact that books are available to us now is because of that revolution.
Mhm.
If that didn't happen, we would not have books in our hand.
Very true.
Yeah, so I think that was a huge turning point in the literature world. And then we come across this very interesting topic, and this is very nuanced. It has a lot of discussions that have happened. Is the canon. The canon, now we know, we have seen it on Instagram, that this falls under the romantic trope, some canon and stuff like that. But the real word that the canon was used for was written in a book, and the book basically spoke about which books can fit under the classic canon, or if they are deemed to be good literature or not. This is a very interesting fact. We all know William Wordsworth.
Right.
We know, we have read Daffodils. Like, that's the first memory I have in
Oh
our
my
English
God,
book.
English literature classrooms, we used to read Daffodils.
Yeah,
Another poem we used to read was, I think, Robert Frost. Which one was it?
A Road Not Taken.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah,
God. Every time I used to come across a road. Which road?
Exactly. Yeah, two roads. Which one do I choose?
And he made it, but it was a good poem.
It was a good poem. It was a good
It
poem.
was just funny back then because we
Yeah.
were young.
And Wordsworth is great. William Wordsworth is a good poet, but people forget Dorothy Wordsworth.
Oh.
She is his sister.
Mhm.
She also wrote in the romantic realm, and her poems were probably equally
Very
as
good.
good or better.
Mhm.
But people don't remember her name because during the time women were not given as
Equal
much
opportunities,
attendance.
yeah.
Women used to write under a pen name at the time so that people thought that they were men.
I remember.
These
yeah.
were the ways people had to survive. There was this one author, a black woman. Her name was Phyllis Wheatley. She was actually called out and asked if you wrote these poems or not. She released a poetry book because people believed that at the time black people could not
Right,
read
or
or
read,
be
yeah.
educated,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
hence they would be forbidden from writing poetry. So she had to come out in public and say, no, I wrote this.
Right.
So this, the history of who was accepted in this world and who was not has plagued us for a long time. And now that, because as the books we stated, Toni Morrison, we saw 100 Years of Solitude, we see Don Quixote, which was written by about a knight in Spain. These were the books which was apparently the first novel, like legitly. And we have to be grateful
Very true.
that the world went through that revolution at the time.
And speaking more on like the Indian author kind of the side here, just imagine Arundhati Roy and
Bro.
her classics. I am yet to read her recent book where she won an
Her
award.
books would be a
It's-
classic.
It's
Like, I'm
Mother
sure.
Mary Comes to Me. I really, really want to read it. I'm yet to read it, but I've heard outstanding reviews about the book.
I
Like
need to
God
read
of
it.
Small Things, I think.
God of Small Things was brilliant. I'm
It's
telling you,
amazing.
in years to come, this would be a modern classic.
I swear. Because Arundhati Roy, the way she writes is just with so much depth and emotion. Like you can feel like every hidden expression that she has written, especially in the book Mother Mary Comes to Me. So once I think we read that book, I think we need like another complete episode
Yeah, we will
about
probably
just
do it.
Arundhati Roy.
Yes.
She's an icon. Her books are amazing.
And she's such a good speaker, and she speaks about the things that matter.
So I think now in this part, we will be covering as to why classics play such a pivotal role even in today's generation as well. Like, firstly, I think because of its cultural and unique historical significance about such books, because even today in this generation, if we go back and read like an old classic that was published back in the 1800s, like say Beloved by Toni Morrison, or a new classic like like 1984 or Kite Runner, even today it would hold so much depth and importance. And I think something about classics gives me a sense of like permanence. Like even when like life is so much like hustling and changes happen, there are new trends happening, there are new genres getting introduced in the literary world as well. But something about classics is always we can go back to.
Yeah.
You can always go back to the roots. It is always something that is going to be on your shelf. Like I still have all the old classic books on my shelf, and you can still like reread them as if you were reading them for the first time. And I think that's
Yeah.
what makes it so much more important.
And classics, as you said, permanent because they stand the test of time.
Mm-hmm.
That no matter what happens, the experiences that they talk about in the books, they will bring about things that are happening today.
Especially like their historical or their cultural backgrounds of any classic book that we read.
Exactly, especially because of that culture and because of that historical backdrop that's happening, you not only understand what happened during that time, but also the themes to the story are so central to just what's happening today, that no matter what happens, when you read it, you won't feel like you are reading a stranger's novel or you're staring back at like an alien.
Mhm.
It will feel very human, just talking about human experiences. And that's why classics just stand the
They-
test of time.
and I think they've influenced also so many young authors and
Yeah,
artists even
like
today.
Dante, like when he like talked
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
circles of hell,
I
he
remember.
inspired Milton to write Paradise Lost.
Right.
And that is one of the most incredible poems in history.
I know.
And I think I know reading classics is difficult.
It is
We know it's difficult. It is very time
because just
consuming.
seeing the size of like say crime
And
and
the
punishment
language.
and the language, so you need a little time for yourself. But if you have it in your mind that
Yeah.
you need to read it,
And the language is old. You probably will need a
That's what
dictionary
makes it
or
so
something. But then you like work hard to read something. You are so present. I think that's why you should read classics. You live in the moment because you can't think of anything else. You need to focus on each and every
Exactly.
word.
It elevates your consciousness also in so many
It
different
is
ways.
incredible.
And you gain so much insight into what happened. Like, say for example, if we never read 1984, we would. I
It's
think it's
today's
one of our
world.
favorites.
It is literally what's happening right now.
Exactly. If we would have never read it, we would have never known. Say for example, if we would have never read like Crime and Punishment, yeah, it took us a hell of a long time to read.
Or a Pride and Prejudice.
Pride and
Middlemarch.
Prejudice. Nothing can beat these classics in particular. Yeah, so I think like now we have a list of our favorite classics. Do you
Yes.
want to go first?
I think we will start with a few easy
We have
books
it
that you
written
could talk
down.
about.
Yes.
Something that just you want to read at the moment
Mhm.
without stressing yourself too much by getting into complicated language. So if you've never read a classic, you could read Animal Farm. It's by George Orwell. It is incredible. It's under 100 pages, but talks about power
Mhm.
and it talks about class, and it does it in an extremely nuanced way, and all under 100 pages.
I am smiling so much because I love that.
Animal
book.
Farm was a good book.
It was so good. I think another one we literally have it written down is one of Anita's favorites. I haven't yet read it. It's called The Little Prince.
The Little Prince is one of the best books ever written. It is, yes, people say it's a children's book. People have said that.
But that's what makes it so unique.
But the things it talks about, it is the greatest
Yeah,
book
oh
of
my
all
God.
time.
These are like the recommendations for people who want to pick up a classic for the very first time, because these are like books that you can actually finish. Like, we won't recommend a first person who has just started classic to start reading Crime and
Or
Punishment.
Ulysses.
Like that would be very tough. So I think these are some of the ones that we sorted. I think, as Anita said, there was Animal Farm. There's Little Prince.
The Old Man and the,
Old
Sea,
Man and the Sea
Ernest
by Ernest
Hemingway.
Hemingway.
It just talks about a fisherman and his story. I
It's
won't
so
give you
good.
more details.
And Anita, do you want to cover the next one because you love it so much?
The Great Gatsby. Okay. Now, I do enjoy The Great Gatsby. It was written by Fitzgerald. It has a very iconic setting and the stories it tells. I think everybody knows Great Gatsby.
Uh-huh.
But if you haven't read it, please do read it.
It's very good, very
Yeah.
good. I think some of our favorites. And I think if you want like very like emotional or very
Yeah.
sweeping emotions kind of a vibe in classics, I think firstly we have
Pride and Prejudice. If you haven't read it, please do
And I
read
think
it.
even for people who have seen the movie and have not yet who have not yet read the book, I think you all should really go and read the book.
Yes, and it has one of the most iconic opening sentences in history. So
I
please go
think-
check it out.
I think it's one of my comfort movies as well, Pride and Prejudice.
The
Like
movies
the
are good.
movie is, it's so good. Like hats off to the actors. But if you really, really want to go and read the classic Pride and Prejudice, I think it would do wonders.
Yes, and the movie recently had come out about this, which did not stand at all near
For
the book.
her expectations, yes.
The movie, so the book that we are going to recommend you is called Wuthering Heights. It's by Emily Bronte, hands down incredible.
I know Charlie
Very
covered
dark
an
and
album in
dystopian.
the movie.
Oh yes, she did.
Yeah.
And of course, the Kate Bush song. Please go listen to it. I love that song.
Oh my god.
Oh, then of course, Anna Karenina.
It's so good.
How can I explain Anna Karenina? It's gossip. If you enjoy gossip, you will like that book.
And I think it's
Very
even for the
aristocratic
starters, like for
gossip.
people who have just want to like pick up a classic. I think this one is like a very good example.
Yes, but it is a little big, so be patient. But
But
remember,
it's
it
very
is
good.
just old people gossip
and
in
sim-
old language. That's all that's happening.
And similar to this, we also have like Emma by Jane Austen. I think
Emma
it's
is
one of my
good.
favorites as
Emma's
well.
nice.
It's very good. As she said, like the book would be, when you see it for the first time, it would be a little bit, tough to like, oh my god, how am I going to read it? But give yourself thoda time, thoda grace and thoda patience. You all will be
Yeah.
able to.
If you want to be intellectually challenged, what I do, this is something I've started this year, that I want to cover one really intense classic in a year. So I will read it over the
Yeah.
span of a year.
I get what you're saying.
This year I've chosen it to be Paradise Lost.
Oh,
So
wow.
just sitting and like analyzing it with a pencil, like we did in school, that one
Yeah.
Shakespearean play we would do
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entire year. The same way. So you could read Paradise Lost the same way. You have the Iliad, you have the Odyssey.
You have the Crime and Punishment. You have
Odyssey,
so
if you
many-
want to prepare for the upcoming movie that's coming out, if you
Yes.
want to, revise your history and summarize the book, it would really help you.
It's so good.
It's good. It's fun. Like most of the classics, people are scared. It's fun.
It's fun.
It's a man
just
trying to come back home.
Exactly. And I think if you guys want something in the dark or the dystopian world, we obviously have 1984 by George Orwell. We also have The Picture of Dorian Gray. I think
That's
one of
good.
my favorite books, because it's just about this man who's basically obsessed with youth and beauty in particular, and how that drives him towards the end. Obviously, we won't give any spoilers here.
And again, the themes are very central to what's happening today.
Exactly.
But reading it the first time, I was just shocked.
Yeah. And I think another one
Yeah.
for the dystopian world, we have your favorite Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is just perfect.
I think
Mary
even the-
Shelley is
the author
insane.
did such a very good.
She
Speaking
wrote
of
that when
Mary
she was
Shelley,
18.
I think another one along with Frankenstein was Mortal Immortal by Mary Shelley, because Frankenstein was my first book that I read of hers, and then Mortal Immortal was the second one I read. So good, guys. These are, I think, even Mortal Immortal or Frankenstein are for the people who want to read classics for the
Yeah.
first time, can go ahead and read these books, because it's just so unique and something so different every time you read it. Because even with me right now, if I reread a classic, I always find something so like something new
Yeah.
out of it, like something that I would not have noticed earlier, but something I would have noticed now.
And don't put like all of those, I'm going to read 100 books a year. It's not a race. You have to actually understand what you're reading. So
And more importantly, it's good for the people out there who can actually finish 100 books. But when you look at someone who's trying to do something, and when you try to adopt it, it's not going to work if you don't. If you don't have the intellectual
yeah.
capacity to read 100 books in a month, which is very tough, but some people can actually do it. Good for them. But if you can't do it, then don't do it.
yeah, make sure it works for you. And whatever you're reading, read absorb it properly.
Like I read this somewhere, like someone said that just read like a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old kid, and try to like absorb what is happening in that
Digest
page in
it
that
all.
current moment. Because like if we like just read for the
if
sake
you just
of it,
glance it, then it doesn't constitute as reading.
exactly.
You have to delve yourself into that world.
I think we also had a lot of fun time covering this classics episode in particular. It is one of Anayata's favorite genres
Yes.
as well. She has read multiple books, and her recommendations is just iconic, because I also recommend, like, I take her recommendations from books and I end up reading those books as well. So yes, Anath, how did you feel?
I loved it, and I hope you take our recommendations and read one or two books if you want to. You'll find multiple copies online, so
Yes.
you don't even have to buy them. But yeah, this was today's episode. I really enjoyed it. We really enjoyed it. And I hope you did too. If you like this episode, if you want us to talk more about books and recommendations, we would love to do another episode. Please let us know
I
in the
think we
comments.
will end up doing another classic episode of just like a list of all our classic
Yeah,
books in
or as
particular.
you said, Mother Mary Comes to Me, like just our understanding and our experience reading that book, something like that.
I think we need a specific episode of just Arundhati Roy.
Yes, we would
For
do
people
that.
who don't know her, please do check out her books as well. She's a phenomenal Indian author, and her books are just life changing, especially for us at least. Yeah, so I think this was the end of today's episode. We had a lot of fun covering it. And yeah, do let us know your recommendations
Yes.
and what you would like to see next. Do let us know in the comments. And yeah, we'll see
We'll
you in the
see
next
you.
one.
Bye.
Bye.